Guess what? The Iceman cometh. And he's on the cover of EA's Madden 27. Yes, I know I'm getting to this late. I've got a couple videos on the backlog. I just haven't been at my PC the last week, so I haven't been able to make any posts about the news. I'm now thinking I probably could have made shorts about it, but too late now. So we're going to talk about Caleb Williams being the cover of Madden 27. That is just insane. The first Chicago Bear to be on the cover of Madden is a quarterback. It's not Walter Payton in some sort of throwback edition. It's not some other running back or defensive stalwart that they've had. It's Caleb Williams, a quarterback who plays for the Chicago Bears. Kind of crazy. Before some of you start, yes, I know Roberto Garza was on the EA Sports Madden 09 Spanish cover, if I'm correct. And I know Brian Urlacher was on the cover of a non-EA NFL game as well back in the day as well. So he's not the first Bear to grace the cover of an NFL video game. But when it comes to being a Madden cover athlete, he's the first Bear to be the main cover athlete on an EA Madden production. And I know that certain people have certain feelings about Madden in general, and I can tell the quality has dipped over the last decade plus. I grew up playing Madden 12 with Peyton Hillis on the cover, for those who remember Peyton Hillis. The thing is, I haven't played a lot of Madden outside of Madden 12. Madden 26 went on a big time sale a couple months ago. I got that so I could play as the 2025 Bears. Been enjoying it. Honestly, I have no benchmark to compare it to because it's just, the difference is so wide, right? So, I mean, I've heard some people complain about Madden a lot, and it has been a thing for years. It's not just Madden. It's the show, 2K, NHL. Any sort of sports video game has definitely felt the decline in quality over the last couple of years because EA's kind of built up a little bit of a monopoly, and 2K for the NBA, right? But that's besides the point. We have a cover athlete in the city of Chicago. If my memory serves me right, Caleb Williams is the first Chicago-based athlete to don the cover of a video game for one of the four major pro sports in North America: NFL, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball, since Javier Baez did, I want to say a little bit before COVID. I want to say maybe it was 2019 or 2018. It was one of those 2 years. But Javier Baez was the last guy to be on the cover from the city of Chicago. And before that, it was Jonathan Taves and then Patrick Kane for the NHL series. If I remember correctly, Derrick Rose maybe was on the cover of a 2K game. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like he was. Regardless, it's pretty sweet to see a Chicago Bear be on the cover and pretty much being told by the league he's the face of the NFL. Because it was Saquon Barkley last year, and well-deservedly so. And before that, it was Christian McCaffrey. And then you keep going back and back and back, right? The league has definitely bought all into Caleb Williams. And it's very clear with their marketing towards the Chicago Bears. It has been all centered around Caleb Williams. I mean, look, the league, I don't know, and this because I follow the Chicago Bears, I don't know if I saw anything like this for either Jade Daniels or Drake May after the great seasons that they had throughout their first 2 years within the league. The NFL has completely bought in to Iceman, and it's an iconic image already from the 2025 season, and the NFL wants to put that on the Madden cover. Not just the Iceman pose. That's going to be the deluxe edition cover, but the jump man throw that he made against the Packers on 4th and 8, where he's kind of got the ball up in the air and he's doing the Jordan logo. I can't really give you a visual aid. It's just I can't do it. It's this slow, you know. But regardless, he gave the NFL some of the most memorable moments from the 2025 season, and they're deciding to buy into that as opposed to giving the cover to someone who had an objectively better season than Caleb Williams. Because, let's be honest, Caleb Williams was not the best player in the National Football League last season. He was not. There were plenty. If he was the best player in the NFL last season, he would have won the MVP. And so I've seen some people talk about, oh, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Myles Garrett because he broke the sack record, yada, yada, yada. I've seen a lot of people suggest, or even Drake May has definitely been thrown in conversations. I've seen a lot of people talk about Caleb Williams is not the right cover this year. And that might be true because he might not have been the best quarterback and he may have had just some special moments, right? Some crazy highlights. That was really the peak of the season for him. Because you could tell if you watched some of the games, especially in the first half, some of them were really ugly, especially against Green Bay. But we don't think about that because he won 2 of those 3 games with stellar second half play. Again, when was the last time a Chicago Bears quarterback played better in the third and fourth quarter than in the first half? He made up for so many mistakes in the first half with his play in the second half. And look, here's why I think the NFL chose Caleb Williams this year specifically as opposed to someone else. When you think about marketing a video game, your league, your players, your stars, there's one guy from the 2025 season that just rose to stardom out of nowhere and has been all over NFL marketing. And it's Caleb Williams. It's like, well, Matthew Stafford won the MVP. Dude, he's been in the league for forever. People are familiar with Matthew Stafford. Jackson Smith-Njigba, I think, probably would have been the best other athlete to go onto the cover if it wasn't Caleb. He would probably would have been my pick. I don't know. I don't think about this too often. But it makes sense why he would be in the conversation. Offensive Player of the Year. The dude was dynamite. This was his breakout season. That's what ends up happening, I've noticed. Either legendary seasons, like Saquon's season last year, maybe Christian McCaffrey as well, or you get some of these breakout young stars, right? JSN. You know, people could have been arguing for Jaden Daniels 2 years ago for Madden 26, right? Drake May had a breakout season, but he didn't put up the same highlights or the same numbers that Caleb Williams did. Drake May's numbers were actually a little bit statistically better across the board, but again, Drake played one of the weakest schedules in literally 25 years or something along those lines. So, you know, I'm not going to say that Drake is a bad quarterback because he's not. We're going to see Week 7, Bears-Patriots, Thursday Night Football. That's going to be a really fun game, but when it comes to the NFL and their marketing efforts, who is a guy that has given them the biggest highlights, some of the biggest jaw-dropping moments from the 2025 season? It's Caleb Williams. And that's what Saquon Barkley did on top of having a 2,000-yard season, which made it a no-brainer for him to be the cover for Madden 26. It's kind of a mix of, are you a star in the league already who is kind of in your prime right now if we haven't given you the cover already? Are you a player who just had a fantastic, one-of-a-kind season that basically you were the star of the league that year, right? Are you a young player who's kind of breaking out? Because I'm not going to say a rookie because Caleb Williams was not a rookie this year, and neither was Jackson Smith-Njigba this year, or Drake May, or any other guy who was in consideration for this. Myles Garrett's definitely one that I totally would have been able to see as well. The guy just broke the sack record. But at the same time, it's a little bit difficult to put him on the cover this year because he just got traded to the Rams. He's not playing for Cleveland anymore. How would you even market Myles Garrett on the Madden cover this year? If he has another 20-plus sack season this year with the Rams, and especially if the Rams win the Super Bowl, I would not be surprised if Myles Garrett's the cover of 28. But with Myles Garrett being traded to the Rams, that was 5 months ago was the end of the season. 5 months after breaking the sack record with the Cleveland Browns, NFL was not going to take him this year. And look, there are plenty of arguments to be made for different players throughout the league. Could have been the cover of Madden 27 this year that had better individual seasons than Caleb Williams. But as someone who's incredibly biased, I think they made the right decision. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm not biased. I am. I'm literally wearing a Caleb Williams shirt jersey right now. It literally says Williams on the back of my shirt. I'm literally wearing his merchandise, all right? I have really loved what Caleb Williams has done in the Windy City so far. He's going to be a fantastic quarterback for years to come. I think that a lot of people can really see that. There are plenty of people, of course, who really just think that this year for the Bears is just a one-year flash in the pan just because they won a lot of games late. They went 8-5 in one-score games this year. There were a lot of games they were losing in the last couple of minutes. Their first game against the Packers. No, they lost the playoff game by one score. They blew a 10-point lead against the Vikings to open the season. This wasn't a team that won every single one-score game they were in. They won their one-score games in just the most exciting fashion that you've ever seen in your entire life. We don't talk about the fact that the Broncos won like 11 one-score games this year. Now, I'm not saying that the Broncos are going to regress. I think the Broncos are much better than... They probably weren't as good as 14-3 this year, but they'll probably still be another 11-plus win team here in 2026. I really do think that the Broncos are a good football team. Maybe a little bit overachieved on the win marker this year, but I mean, sometimes that's just how it works. You overachieve, and then you kind of maybe even be a little bit better, but your record isn't as good. Just because that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes, dude. Now, obviously, the Bears fan in me is just ecstatic about this because, dude, my quarterback's the cover of Madden, bro. This is unbelievable. The Bears quarterback, otherwise known as a dead wasteland of no-name guys and bad prospects, up until this year pretty much, where we saw the best quarterback season in the history of the Chicago Bears. He still didn't throw for 4,000. He'll do it this year. He absolutely will do it this year. I am so sold on it. He lost like 400 yards on drops. I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but he lost at least 200. He was like under 50 yards away from hitting 4K. He'll spot that. I'm confident in that. Of course, we'll see what happens. They have a really tough schedule this year, so who knows what is needed to win the games. But regardless, dude, the Bears have a quarterback on the face of Madden. It's just unbelievable. I would have just assumed that if anyone was going to get onto the cover of Madden, it would be someone on the defensive side of the ball, probably a linebacker, or someone on the offensive side of the ball, like a running back. Because that historically have been the top positions for the Chicago Bears, running back and linebacker. Defensive line have had their stars. Corners have had their stars. They've had a couple of guys that have been good receivers, but no true top 10 receiver type of guys for an extended period of time. They've had really, really good wide receiver seasons, especially in the last 15 years from guys like Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, and DJ Moore, but none of those guys were around long enough to really go for any super massive records. That's why Johnny Morris is still the only 5,000-yard receiver in Bears history, because this organization can't keep the top receivers around for long enough. And I'm hoping that changes with this new regime, with Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, even other guys that they draft, Xavier Thomas, I'm correct, yes, Xavier Thomas, and like Janae Walker or whatever, right? But that's where it is. The Bears, a team not known for their offense, has a quarterback on the cover of Madden. It still doesn't feel real. I'm excited because the quarterback of my football team is on the cover of Madden. I'm supposed to be happy about this. But I also want to address a couple of the things that I've seen some people talk about over the last couple days after the announcement, while I haven't been able to put together a video for you all until now. Look, if you've been watching the channel long enough, you know it's not just that simple of an announcement. There's always some other dimension to it that I like to talk about on this channel. And well, you got here today. Anyways, that's all I got for this one. So thanks for stopping by the Chicago Sports Corner. Hope you enjoyed your time.
Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and hit the subscribe button if you really, really enjoyed it and want to see more content from me. Keep the conversation going in the comment section below. What do you think about Caleb Williams being the cover of Madden 27? And I will see you all in the next video.